So, welcome, my good friend Stefano Domenicali, CEO of Lamborghini, at this Passione Community webinar. Stefano, I would like to say a few words before let you go for the first question, of course. And my webinar, I say to everybody that I'm very lucky because I had the chance in my life to meet so inspiring people, and this is a very good chance, especially in this tough period when you have friends like you, for example. You are inspiring a lot. Why? Because I learned the simplicity and the real point, going to the real point, is really an icon on you. And it's incredible, believe me, how many words I receive in LinkedIn, WhatsApp, whatever, in these days about you. All the people telling, finally, gentleman, a great CEO, great guy. So you have an incredible image of yourself, Stefan. You can be proud of that.
Well, Paolo, I don't think it's a problem of image. I think that for me is the real thing is to be real and not to be a mask. And in all my life, what I was fighting for was to be real. I was in a world where I received so many times the request to wear a mask that were not belonging to myself. And I always said and this is what I said to my daughter, to my son, is not a problem wearing mask if you have to keep it for one day. But the problem is if you're wearing a mask, you are acting like an actor. You're not yourself. And for a life, you need to be yourself. And that's why I think that this is really what you see, what you buy, what you see, if I may say. So for sure, thanks for your word, Paolo, means a lot to me, but this is me and I will not change. I'm 55, so it will be difficult to change after that time. So I want to keep the way that I am, loving my job, loving the people that are around me. And of course, I know that I'm very, very lucky and privileged because I am in a world where, maybe 100,000 of people would like to stay or would like to be in my position. So I feel the responsibility and the proudness of being, a guy that was born in Imola, that has worked for his life in Ferrari. Now he's working for Lamborghini. My wife, she's from Monza. So I would say, there are a lot of coincidences that.
With Formula One with Ercole too. So,
Yeah. So it's a special family. So unbelievable. So I cannot
Stefan,
thank God more than that.
is there something, because you are really, what I do appreciate and what I heard about you, that you are absolutely charming person, dedicated person, but also tough and straight to the point. So there is something that you can say to yourself that you learn from COVID-19. I mean, COVID has taken away a lot of things to our life, this is sure. But did you learn something?
Well, I learned one thing that for sure, let me put it this way. I learned things depending the phase of COVID-19, because the first phase for me was totally unreal. Let's say I was not ready to live what we are living. I thought it was something that it was just belonging to the pages of the history book. And the first lesson learned that I took home was, we had signed many months before coming from China, and we thought that it was just a local problem. First lesson learned is that in this world, you cannot think of a world that is divided with very high barriers. We are in a globalized world, and if we are not able to understand that the only way to live better, that is the objective for everyone, live better, we need to do it together. You cannot do it alone. Because at the end of the day, the implication and interrelation that our economy, industry, life, because the spread of this is just because of the movement of the people, you are not taking the point. So the first thing is we cannot live alone. So we need to understand how to share values that are different from part of the world, for sure, in a social way, in an industrial way, in a professional way, in a personal way. So this is something for lesson one. Lesson two, we need to be agile and flexible to be able to react in the shortest time as possible. So on that, what is important to say is that the speed of reaction, the need of change is something that we need to have in our way of living, in our attitude, because otherwise, today we have this situation. Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll be out, but we need to get ready to adjust our things, product portfolio in the business life, supply chains, way of working, blah blah blah, with an incredible speed. Therefore, this is another thing that I have the confirmation that is absolutely essential today. The other point that is the third, that I really hope that our way of digesting and changing subject, being multitask, will not allow us to forget what we are living today. Because the most important thing is to, sediment what we are living, to take the points, to change the way of, thinking of the future. What I want to say is that we have absolute need to think strategic. We have the need of thinking longer term to be able to, in a flexible way, to change the tactics. But we cannot adjust closing the holes, thinking that then the holes will not come back again. So there is the need of thinking forward in a medium term with the possibility of changing the path. But that's another thing that for me was important. And on a personal level, of course, I took the time to spend with the family, understanding the difficulty of a different dimension when you have 24 hours a day in a privileged situation like it was, but it is something different. So interesting.
Yeah, I do think the same. I think that of course we can be sad, we were impressed and a lot of things, but personally me too, I learned lots and I'm reflecting a lot, building a new future. Let's talk about the new future. It's very interesting. From one side, political government, I live in Switzerland, as you know, we invest tons of money on public transportation, blah, blah, blah. And in this moment, car transportation is growing a lot because people is afraid to take a train, to take a plane. It's not easy. So let's talk about hybrid electric or lovely singing engines, what I call singing engines. What's your opinion about? We were talking about Alfredo Tavilla. He said that he feels that it takes 10 years to understand exactly where to go. Of course, electric cars are a lot on the talks of everyone. He feels more the hybrid as a good chance where to work with. What's your opinion? Before talking about what Lamborghini is going to do, but your personal opinion.
Well, of course, because I have the cap of a Lamborghini brand, I have to think taking care about our brand and the mission, not the emission, the mission of our brand and the wish, of what the customer wants from us as a brand and as a car. And it's clear that the more we talk about the segment of automotive, it's clear that now there is the big division between two soul. One is the soul of the cars that have the duty of being a mobility tool, let me put it this way. And this is something that is clearly that the mega trend, that the evolution of this segment is going versus the electrification. There is no doubt about it. Even if on that we can discuss the application and the need of a holistic system that has to grow together. Otherwise, forget it. So there is this need, and this thing is as one separate view. The more we are talking about that, the more the need of the other side of the soul, that is emotion versus a passionate way of living the product in a different way, physical contact, physical events, physical things, is more on the, let's say, on the dynamics of the brand like Lamborghini. Therefore, this is a clear division of the two tasks and objective of these two segments. Of course, in this moment, I do believe that Lamborghini has taken the right decision in the direction of making the future portfolio hybrid. That is the natural step of evolution of a product like ours, where the combustion engine has still a value for the customer. The engine sound has still a vibration that is giving emotion. But we can see on that respect, that the growth of the brand which we belong, it's really very, very important because our customers are more and more in line with what we want to share. So a sporty, dynamic, technological, with no fear approach of the life. And therefore we are connected to these things. On the other hand, I do believe that it's pretty clear that for many reasons, we could discuss all day long about it.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
Electrification is the future. I'm saying the future because the point of discussion, and I don't want to discuss about this subject with a fundamentalist approach, because here you have to, there are a lot of discussion in the wrong way.
It's not a religious problem.
It's not a religious problem, because otherwise, forget it. But I think it's a matter of transition time. And the transition time depends on a lot of elements and a lot of things. Sustainability, it's not the issue. I'm sorry, I have a different vision of it. Sustainability is not the issue, because the issue of sustainability has to be considered from the first point up to the last point of the chain. And therefore, sustainability is the right approach, but we need to consider the complete chain of values. The thing that I see has an effect on this transition time is really the fact that alone the automotive industry cannot cope with that. The holistic need of a structure, of recharging system, of these cars has to be done in a global way. Otherwise, the time will be much longer. And this is something that I fear that in terms of time, it will be longer than what everyone thinks that is happening. Because one thing is the mobility inside the city, and the other thing is the mobility across, different distances. Therefore,
sorry to interrupt you. In this meeting, don't you think that a hybrid could be a good solution? I drive 2 liters on 100 kilometers on the motorway, then I switch into electric when I enter the center of the city. Don't you feel this is the real size of the story where we can go?
I mean, we will go in the direction that we said, unless something will be catastrophic in the middle. But for cars like Lamborghini, for sure, the right direction is hybridization, because you will be in the center of the city with the electric power, with the respecting even more the center. But when you go in the distance or on the track, you can feel the engine. That is for someone like our customer. And I want to dispute if you don't like or don't like. They like, and that's why we sell. It's a value. Therefore, this is the truth. And as I said, for me, it's very important that, for example, in our country, let's say in Italy, for example, where, ciao Matteo, I see you now is online, but un abbraccio grande. But what I see, for example, is that, for a country where 70%, 65% of the car has no guardian parents, just parked outside on the street. We need to prepare the condition. That's why I go back to my first point, the need of having a vision of a strategy. Before thinking that you have already the product, you need to create the path of the transition versus the future. It's like, for me to say that we can build the skyscrapers from the roof. It will not be stable, at least will not be solid.
How long? How long does it take in your opinion, Stefano?
Well, there's no answer on that, because it's very different from country to country, from place to place, from priority to priority. And this is something that I really cannot answer. But, I think that, for example, in our country, it will be longer.
And is there any chance to see do you think there can be, or let's say your word seems to say that there are no chance to see an Urus full electric, for example?
No, I don't see that. I see that is a possibility in the future for sure, because as I said, the trend is clear. But it's a matter of understanding a couple of points also in this respect. First of all, if we are talking about technology of the future, as you know, Lamborghini is always projected versus the future. We will launch the third millennium, the terzo millennium model. That is our way versus the electrification. Our way versus electrification is also to consider the need of the most important element of a super sport car brand, that is weight to power element. So we know that one of the constraints for a super sport car to be interesting is the ratio between weight to power and the autonomy. And of course, if we are talking about autonomy versus a mobility car, is a totally different story. If you're talking about autonomy with a car that has to be a super performance car, is a different way of producing energy. Of using the energy. Therefore, we are thinking of a future where we need to think about a different way of storing the energy instead of the batteries that are very heavy. So we are already thinking how we can use the carbon fiber surfaces to be the place where we can store energy. So we want to take the opportunity to look at the future in the direction of being different from what the technology is offering into the market, from one side. On the other side, when we're going to feel that that is something that for the customer Lamborghini, it's a must, we need to be ready to shift and be ready to be ready with the right product in the right moment. So it's up to us to work on a parallel way to have the right technology to make sure that when our customer wants to have that car, we need to be on the market. So this is the tricky point. Work on these parallelism things, knowing that we need to be always open in understanding how the trend is going. And on that, I have to say that what I'm, if I may, proud of is that we are a very aspirational brand, and we see from one side that the young generation are not so keen to be to receive a driving license. On the other hand, we saw Lamborghini growing in terms of aspirational brand with the young generation. That means that what we are doing with regard to the portfolio, with regard to the value of the brand connected to us, is what people want to see. We are talking with the same language of our young generation customer. So that's why I do believe we have in this moment a great potential for a great future.
I was impressed when you had the idea to produce a car just for the video game. This was absolutely astonishing idea. I mean, I was very impressed. Very good marketing idea. Absolutely.
Thank you, Paolo. I was fantastic. I mean, we received such an incredible coverage and an incredible interest that is showing that we have in this moment a different duty. We are not only, I'm saying that to my guys, to our team. We are one team. We are not only a car manufacturer. Now we are in a dimension where we can influence, the vision of our followers that are young generation, attracted by the brand, attracted by the motorsport, attracted by the cars, of course, attracted of what we are doing today with the Lamborghini brand. So we are living in a sort of brand extension approach without forgetting that we are a car that has to produce super sport cars.
Very interesting what you're going to say, because I was reflecting. I did a focus group with young guys from 17 to 19 years old for a brand, BMW. And there was a young guy, 17 years old, raising the hands and asking to me, may I do a question? Yes, of course, you're here for that. And he asked me, you speak well German, so you understand what I'm going to tell you. And he said, sorry, what do you mean for Freude an Fahren, the pleasure of driving? And I say, what do you mean? No, because, expensive. If I take a beer, it's a problem. I don't find the parking. My father is always angry, always in a jam. So I would like to understand, why do you talk about Freude am Fahren? And I really was impressed, because it's a question that I was not expecting and I was not waiting for. And on the other side, you have to know, Stefano, that in Passione Engadina, thanks to Julius, Ben, and Marco, every year we invite 10 young guys and young ladies with father or mother to drive the car during Passione Engadina. And then we are bringing them back to the emotions of the car. What does it mean driving? And it's impressive. Year by year, Julius now is since 6 years with us, we have now teams of young guys against the family. They buy the small car, but they feel the passion. So, I mean, I think that what you were explaining to us about the Lamborghini feeling is absolutely right. Is absolutely right. Not because I want to agree with you, but you're totally right. One marketing question. How strategical and happy are you about Urus?
First of all, let me connect one point what you said, because I don't know if Marco is still there or not, but I just want to say that his vision on what he's doing for the passion of the automotive industry is great. And I mean, what Julius Berry is doing is something that I would really hope to see that others can do, because as you said, we need the multiplier effect of understanding what passion means. No matter if you like, electric cars or a combustion car, is connected to, be in love with a product that is still physical. So that's why I want to connect to your question. That is, everything that we do on the digital platform is something that has to be connected to I call it a physicità, that I don't know how to explain in English, but to something that is real, to the physical.
Touch.
Therefore, that you can touch. The feel and touch is giving you the passion and the emotion. And, it's something that is always, we don't have to forget that when we look to our strategy of marketing, our target is to sell cars. So cars are physical. Cars has to go in the street, in the city, on the track, on the mountains, at the sea, at the lake. So all the things that we do on digital side has to give the appetite, I always said that, to the real need of being together, living experience in the place that you like, with the people that you like to stay together. Otherwise, we're going to fail our mission.
Nothing to argue. Perfect answer. Once more, how was strategical marketing interesting for you, the Urus? I mean, it's
very good, huge, but it was spot on in terms of being clear on the target that we want to take, we want to address in terms of volumes, in terms of growth, in terms of product, and in terms, that is, as not to forget, to the extending the portfolio of our customer that we wanted to attract with Lamborghini. And that's why the fact that we are having 70% of the customer of Urus that were coming in Lamborghini for the first time, it was a mission achieved. Of course, with this car, it's something that is taking the average age of our customer in a higher place. But that is perfect because we are now complete on that respect. We can work transversally. And this is something that we don't have to forget. It was a very, and I can say that, quite a challenging task to bring home from a group when you have a different opinion, different vision, worries of cannibalization, and was really difficult. But I would say today, what Urus brought to Lamborghini was something huge. And from this basis onward, I think that is clearly saying that as soon as you have digested the right pillars of a strategy, you need to be very active and very pushy. And that's why after this moment, now on our side is the time to stabilize the growth, to keep the fundamentals strong. And this is something that we're going to do. We have a lot of ideas for the future in terms of portfolio, but the pillars on which we're going to base our medium-term strategy is pretty clear.
Stefano, how do you manage your relation with German? I've been in Ingolstadt, and Hildegard Rothmann told me incredible good things about you. And no, really, not kidding. So, as an Italian from the Motor Valley, and how do you manage the feeling? I was born in Milan, as you know, and I've been working with Swiss, German, and German companies, and of course, I see the difference. So, I would like to know, what's your experience?
Well, it's an experience that I have to tell you once again very transparently. If I would have moved from Ferrari to Lamborghini with no Audi experience, I would have burned not only my fingers, but my arms, my head, my body in less than 2 months. Of course, it's a different way of working. It's a very organized and process-oriented group on which competences and structure is, the quality attention, details and organization and procedure are at the center. And one thing that is really important is product is essential. Is clearly, the focus of the group. So I've learned to understand our role in this group. Of course, we are a tiny piece in the magnitude of the Volkswagen Group, but with a very high light, because the brand is very, 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 very strong, above all now. Therefore, I had to respect the complexity of working together. I have to understand that sometimes I would be much more quick because I'm coming from a different environment. So the real balance is to understand the need of being structured with the no need of being overstructured. That is the point, how to, let's say, that we need to manage.
If you were drinking the spirits together right now, if you could say shortly what from Italy you brought into the concern and what they bring to Lamborghini.
Well, for sure, what we are bringing to the group is a happy approach on what we are doing. at the end of the day, we don't have to forget that we are talking about super sport cars. We're talking about cars. We're talking about stuff that is useful, but we are buying because you love it, you enjoy. So we don't have to be, we need to be serious. But to be serious doesn't mean that you cannot enjoy when you are living and working. And then we are giving to them a little bit of a flexible mind approach that is not really the best value in that system. What we are bringing, of course, home is the level of competences, the structured orientation approach, and this is very granitic and solid, and this is very important.
Very German in a way.
Very German, very German. But
okay.
I believe that the mix of being German and Italian is the best mix that we can have. Okay. We are very complementary, and therefore, when you are complementary, you can achieve extraordinary result.
I can tell you how much I feel your answer and your sentence is exactly how I live. I'm half of myself is still from Milan, from the creativity, of course, but the other half that I learned from Swiss German is organization, timing, respect, the rule. Very interesting. I totally words, honestly speaking. So I hope that your personal assistant will appreciate it. For 26 minutes, no Ferrari questions, because she wrote me a lovely mail.
But Paul, you know me. I mean, I have no problem of talking about anything. No fear, no problem.
Not the point, but I fully respect the choice you made. And the second point that I fully respect is that exactly for the kind of choice you made, from such a brand to this brand, I think it was important to feel you how much you are involved now. Of course, part of your life is there. Part of my life is in Mediaset, of course. But I mean, it's another part of our life. We are in new life. That's why I respect the actual.
It's a matter of respect. It's a matter of appreciation. It's a matter of not saying something that if I would be in that position, I would not like. And it's, as I said, it's respect. Respect, and for me, it means a lot. And therefore, that's it.
So now the last 3 minutes, very quick and lovely, and questions and answer. Number one, how are you scared about the Formula One World Championship this year? What do you think about? They are dealing an incredible nightmare. I was talking with Fred Vasseur, told me, we don't know. We are trying to understand how to do it. If you were still there.
I think that what they are doing now is something incredible, because, having to manage such a real situation, not having the chance to have people on the track, they are reacting incredibly well, I would say. So looking forward to see the championship starting in 3 weeks. So looking forward to see the races. It's a transition year where a lot of work has to be done to create a better future that will be back to normality, hopefully already next year.
There was a time, and in a lovely garage in the middle of Switzerland, of the common friends, we don't know if Albert is watching us, but we say hello anywhere to Albert.
Yes, absolutely.
Lamborghini using Formula One engine.
Yes, at the beginning of the 90s.
Yes. Chance to see Lamborghini back on track? Perfect.
At least in the medium term.
In the medium term. Okay, this is the medium term. And do you still watch a little bit Formula One?
No, more than a little bit. I still watch a lot because I love it and I follow it. And of course, being part of the World Council of the FIA, I'm involved in the matters, and absolutely yes.
Question that I did to Nico Rosberg, that I will do to Robert Kubica next week. I mean, Formula E, Formula One, they can exist together, or with this problem of budgeting and budget cap from one side, of course, can be a chance. But do you think they still have a place for both these two championships? They have to mix, they have to remain separate. What's your opinion about it?
They have a future, both. They have two parallel objectives, and they are different. Therefore, that's why they can survive for the future. If they would have been very close one to the other, one have been overcome the other. So the more they are different, the more they can stay. It's important that the Formula E will be strong on cost, because I know, and I can say that with a lot of respect, as soon as the manufacturer jump in, need to be prudent, because the wish is to be successful. And if there are no strong, and I know that they're working very hard to do that, the mission is to keep the cost as low as possible. And this is something that will be fundamental for the future. And therefore, I would say that the more they are different, the more there is the chance they will stay.
When I met the people, and we are going to the end because I always respect your time and also the time for your family because we are on Friday. And thank you for these 30 minutes that we had together. I want to tell you something that I feel about you. I was coming for a meeting 1 year ago in Lamborghini in Sant'Agata, and I had to take the badge to enter, of course. And I was waiting for Gerard Kalke. I say hello to Gerard, of course. And because you were my proud sponsor last year, Passione Engadina, once more, thanks. We were very honored to have you.
Thanks
and
to you, Paolo.
In the reception. And so I talked a little bit with the hostesses, and they told me this sentence that I want to share with all the people that will be watching live or in the next days about you. You know why we like Dr. Domenicali? I say, no, why? Because I like this man. No, we love it because he always finds the time for a smile. He always finds the time for a word. He always finds the time to let us feel as important, also if we adjust the reception. That's why you are special, Stefano Domenicali. That's why the people like you so much.
You're too kind, Paolo. You embarrass me, so maybe it's better if I say hello.
No, but not kidding. This has happened. Stefano Domenicali, thank you very much. Enjoy your time. All the best.
Thank you so much. Grazie mille, caro Paolo, e grazie a tutti.
Piacere, Stefano, arrivederti.
Grazie, ciao.
Per tutta la famiglia. Ciao.
Grazie, ciao.
Alla prossima settimana. Grazie a tutti.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ciao.